Alright, welcome back to my channel, guys. Today it's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little longer, just going to talk some Star Wars with my brother here, Carlos. We're both pretty big Star Wars fans. He's probably a bigger fan than I am, but we grew up with it. Our dad was a huge fan with the original trilogy, and here we are. But first, did you want to say anything about Star Wars or?
No, growing up, I was a fan of the original trilogy and much more the prequel trilogy. Around high school time, I started to kind of fall off of Star Wars, but then the Clone Wars series came out, and that really drew me back in, and I started to grow more and more as a Star Wars fan and started consuming more content. I never got into the Legends material much, but right now I'm currently diving into the EU and just trying to soak up as much information and canon material as I can.
Yeah, I never read any of the books either, but growing up we always had the games, the toys, the movies were always on, so we're pretty big into Star Wars, I would say. We want to talk about the controversy right now with Moses Malone. Is that her name?
No, Moses Ingram.
Okay, Moses Ingram. And like all that stuff going on, but first let's just talk about Star Wars, because obviously Kenobi is like on right now, and then we also have future shows, and Star Wars Celebration just ended. So let's just first talk about Kenobi. I'll give my thoughts first. So far, I like it. I really don't have any problems with it. I mean, well, the only problem I have is that they're too short. I feel like with only 6 episodes, like they should at least give us like an hour long of the content, because they have like 45-minute episodes, but like 7 of those minutes are for credits, so that sucks. But no, so far so good. I guess my only really like problem is that, or it wasn't a problem, but in the last episode when at the end of Vader and Kenobi's fight, when Vader and Kenobi, when there was flames in between them, and and Vader just let Kenobi go. At first, I had a problem with that, because like Vader could easily just force pull him or just douse out the fire. But then I thought about it, and I was like he doesn't just want to like kill and defeat Kenobi. Like, he wants to actually have a rematch and beat him, you know. So I was fine with that. But yeah, with only 3 episodes left, I don't know how they're going to wrap everything up, because they have a lot of things to get through with a short amount of time, you know?
I've been enjoying the series a lot, and my only real gripe was the goofy chase in like the first episode, but it's really not that big of a deal to me. I know they were trying to play off chasing like a 10-year-old through a forest, but I think the actors and performers have been really great. I think the story is leading to an interesting place. Overall, I'm glad we're finally getting to see Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back in the Star Wars universe, and I'm hoping we get a Clone Wars flashback with maybe even some Cody or live-action Captain Rex. I think that'd be really cool. But because, I mean, right now we only have Hayden Christensen in the suit.
The rumor right now is that the robot that saved Kenobi is Wrecker. Have you heard of that theory?
No.
They're saying, because remember when the stormtroopers were interrogating the loading robot or whatever it's called, and you had like the hammer behind, like those fingers look like real human fingers, and honestly, its armor looks like it was like its clone armor but painted over with. You haven't heard of that theory?
Slightly. I know the robot costume wasn't very convincing compared to the other droid costumes they have.
Exactly. So they're saying that Wrecker's in there, and that we might see Tamara Morrison as Wrecker.
That'd be interesting.
But yeah, no, Kenobi's good so far. Have you heard of like the rumor, the leaks about the ending of Kenobi?
No, but I don't really want to hear about it. I want to watch it or experience it first.
You don't want to tell you?
No.
Okay, well,
please.
Can't talk about that. How do you think it's gonna end? Because obviously they're gonna fight again. But
yeah.
Like,
it's kind of hard to say, because I think they've gotten the season 2 approved already. So I can't really imagine where they're gonna go with the end of the season. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be pretty interesting because you have to be careful with keeping the continuity between these character storylines and how they end up meeting again in A New Hope. I know Star Wars is usually, they can get a little wonky with their continuity every now and then, especially with just how the story was made, and there's always usually like some last minute details ironed out, so I'm not really sure.
And honestly, continuity has been like, that's always been like sketchy since the beginning, because episode 4 wasn't supposed to be like one of 3 movies, right? It was just supposed to be a one-off.
I think so.
Right.
I think George kind of always had a plan or an idea.
Well, I think he had an idea, but like, for example, like Leia and Luke, they weren't supposed to be siblings from the beginning.
Yeah, they weren't siblings.
But then he switched that over, and like, it was kind of
Vader wasn't his dad.
Vader wasn't his dad. Yeah.
So there's been like last minute changes.
Even in the OT trilogy, like continuity that has been weird from the start. But no, I think they have been doing a good job so far, because they do have to stick to a plan, because things in episode 4 happened, and especially with the dialogue between Vader and Kenobi in episode 4, when I think Vader said, "Last time we met, I was just a teacher, or I was just a learner, but now I'm the master." They're forced to play on that. Like, they can't really change any things up. So I think so far they've been doing a good job of staying with the continuity. But I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. Another thing is with Leia, because obviously in the OT trilogy, Kenobi doesn't know that Leia's force sensitive, or does he just not know he knows she exists, obviously, but he doesn't know she's force sensitive, because at the end of episode 5, or near the end, when Luke went off to face Vader, and then Yoda and Kenobi were talking, and then Kenobi said, like, "That's our only hope," and then Yoda's like, "There's another."
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Kenobi didn't even consider her as an option.
I don't think so.
But then we have here in the show that obviously they've met prior, and like, I don't know.
I don't think Kenobi ever had any plans for Leia. It seems like he's always been fully intentional on training Luke and wanting him to be our New Hope for defeating the Empire and defeating Vader. I'm not too well versed on any lore that would support any argument saying that maybe Obi-Wan just didn't have a plan, didn't know she was force sensitive. I'm not really sure on those two things, but yeah, it's always been, Kenobi has always had plans for Luke, and I don't think he really saw a future in Leia opposing the Empire through the Jedi religion.
How will you feel if because obviously so far we haven't gotten any Clone Wars flashbacks. I mean, we got Hayden back in his Anakin, robes, but that was just for like a second.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened? How would you feel if we only got like one little flashback and that's it?
I mean, I'd be pretty disappointed if it was very short. I do hope I'm hoping minimum maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
The next episode, they have to at least have half of the runtime dedicated to flashbacks, in my opinion. At least if they're going to do it in one episode, then that's how they should do it. Or they can split it up between the remaining 3. But I think for these last 3 episodes, you have to have a significant amount of flashbacks. Just for the fans, because obviously we've been waiting for this since episode 3 finished.
I think with this next episode, we might have a good chance of getting flashbacks. I think Kenobi's probably going to be in a healing state. They'll probably kind of do what they did with Boba.
Yeah, that's true.
And so when Obi-Wan is healing and he finally has his confrontation with Vader after 10 years, I'm without a doubt, I'm sure he's going to think of moments in the past with his relationship with Anakin, and probably be moments that can help support where these characters are at right now in their relationship. So,
but you think they're going to fight again, right?
They are going to fight again.
They are?
Absolutely.
Last
yeah.
episode? But if they
Probably.
fight again in the last episode, then what's season 2 going to be about? Like, they can't just go back to Vader. Because then that kind of be stretching it out too long, in my opinion.
Maybe. I don't really know. I just...
Because, like, if they just keep... Like, let's say they make a season 2, and they continue the whole Kenobi versus Vader thing, isn't that going to, like, just water it down and, like... Isn't it going to be too repetitive? Because, like, they have to... At one point, they have to, like... Because they already went 10 years without seeing each other.
Yeah.
Now they meet each other, like...
Yeah, I'm not
There should be another period of time where they don't interact.
I'm not sure what they're going to do or how they're going to handle that. I do know Ewan and Hayden have both expressed wanting to continue to reprise their roles, and Hayden seems pretty set on there being much more story to tell with Darth Vader. And I mean, we have the comics that take place between the movies and the original trilogy, and those really do add more to Vader and to the Star Wars story. So I'm sure he's
going to be in Ahsoka too, right?
Anakin?
Yeah, or Christensen.
Yeah. I think
he looks a little old.
I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but I'm sure he's going to be.
They need to put some more makeup on him or something, because with that little division Kenobi had in the last episode with Anakin, he looks, I don't know, he looks a little too, he looks weird. He's definitely aged compared to Kenobi.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, he looks similar to when he did, but I mean, it has been 20 years, so you can tell there's been a little bit of age. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll fix it. I mean, what they did with Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker, this is making Hayden look younger as a cakewalk.
Yeah, true. I wouldn't mind a season 2, but at the same time, I wish they would have just done 6-hour-long episodes and then boom, that's it, no more. I mean, you can put Kenobi in like other stories, but I don't think you can carry on this story in a season 2. I think you have to finish it with this season, which obviously they did already because it's already filmed and released.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to tell right now with what ideas they have. With Marvel, I was very skeptical of each new show and almost each new project they've had, because I thought after Infinity War I didn't know how they could top it, but I've been very pleasantly surprised with the new Marvel shows. And I know Star Wars is being handled pretty differently, but
yeah,
I think right now they're really starting to find their footing at Lucasfilm with telling these stories through show format.
Yeah, Marvel has all the content since Endgame came out. It's been good, but I'm just really confused right now with like the whole multiverse and all these different kinds of power sources and magic, and that's for another video. But all right, Kenobi's good. What did you think of Book of Boba Fett?
I like Book of Boba Fett. I know there's a lot of issues that people had with it. I had pretty minimal issues. I was very excited to have Tamora Morrison come back and not necessarily reprise his role, but to play this character new to him, but that he's always, obviously he was going to be him.
What would you give it out of 1 out of 10?
1 out of 10? Probably give it like a 7, 7.5.
I didn't really. I mean, I liked Book of Boba Fett, like as Star Wars material. Like it was great, but as like a Boba Fett story, I don't know, because we did have those 2 episodes where they just like left Boba Fett in the background, and it became
Mandalorian.
It became Mandalorian. Yeah. Like that was weird. Like,
yeah,
you can't just ignore that. Like that didn't happen.
It's crazy because Din Djarin has become such a prominent character in Star Wars universe. He's been so well done that he even overshadowed Boba in his own show. And I mean, I think that also kind of leaves it up to the writing where they allowed that to happen. But I think, I don't know, I hope we get more Boba Fett, and I do hope.
Do you count those 2 episodes as like the story of Boba Fett in that season, or like?
Yeah.
But he wasn't in it though, like.
No, but I mean like
because that for me felt like Mandalorian season 2 at the beginning, like it was just so out of place.
Yeah, it was like a Mandalorian 2.5, those 2 episodes, but I still think I mean, he's a part of Boba's story, and he was a part of the events that happened in Boba's story, and I think it's still the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I guess. What did you think of like the biker gang that he recruited? Because that for me also felt out of place as well. Like they would have been perfect in Coruscant or like a Coruscant type of world, like city and underground. Like, but in the desert, it's like I don't know. It didn't feel Star Wars at all.
I think it definitely looked weird to have these Vespa space mopeds and
shiny,
cyberpunkish people out in Tatooine. I think they would have definitely looked more fitting in Coruscant, but I didn't take up too much of an issue with it. I'm sure you can find real world representations where stuff like that happens.
So that kind of leads me to what I want to talk about next is like just Star Wars as a whole with Disney so far. Like it sounds like you're pretty satisfied so far with how they're handling it, but like, do you have any criticisms or any problems with the way Star Wars has been handled under Disney so far? I mean, we're going all the way back to like the sequel movies and everything.
Yeah, no, I definitely had issues with the sequel trilogy. I mean, I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to Star Wars content, and so I still found enjoyment out of all three movies. But I definitely still had issues with like Finn not becoming a Jedi and then like dangling that carrot in front of us for like 2 movies. I wish Rey would have been written better. I wish she would have gotten her double-bladed lightsaber. It doesn't make any sense to me why she wouldn't. And Palpatine coming back, which
that was the dumbest thing ever in my.
I don't know. It's like 50-50.
You know why? It's because they. Then this is. I mean, I don't know if this is verified, but like they didn't really. I don't think they had a plan from the start with the movies. I think it was mishandled that way. Like, I mean, at least with George Lucas, like he had a plan from the beginning. But
he had sequel movies, it's like written out. But yeah, the sequel trilogies were very disorganized. But even then, they were hinting at Palpatine coming back, even with Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign and the Aftermath book series. So the thing is like
Battlefront 2 canon?
Yeah, everything that's released. The only thing that isn't canon, I think, is Visions, the anime.
That's probably why I liked it, because it wasn't canon.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, all the books, all the games, those are all canon.
We can talk about the sequels forever, because I do have a lot more problems with those movies. But before time runs out here, just want to touch on like the controversy right now with Moses Ingram and all the things she's going through, or all the hate she's been getting, and so on. So, if you guys didn't know, and I'll try to give you guys a summary, and maybe you can help me out here. But Moses Ingram plays the 3rd sister Inquisitor in the new Kenobi series, and I don't know if I would say the majority of fans, but there's a big group of fans out there that have a problem with her character. And then, of course, with how the internet is and how the world is, you have a few people who have been sending her hateful and racist like DMs and stuff on Instagram. So that happened like a week ago, and then Star Wars came out with an announcement saying we stand with Moses against racism and everything. And then shortly after, Ewan McGregor also made a statement and came out in support of her. Now overall, I don't have any problem with Disney coming out and saying they support Moses and they're against all these trolls and people saying hateful things. I don't have a problem with that. But my thing is, like, with anything, you're going to have a small minority of fans in any fandom that have a problem, and they're going to say, just be trolls. They're just going to say hateful and disgusting things, right? But I think at this point it's performative, because it's such a small group of people, and especially when we talk about the internet, which is a word where you can have 5 accounts just under one person, or they're hiding behind a laptop or a screen. It's just I don't want to say it's not the real world, because it definitely is. Like social media and the internet, it's the metaverse. It's all becoming more integrated with the physical world. But I don't know. I just think at this point we're giving them so much power. We're just like pointing out these this small amount of people who are obviously trolls and obviously are saying hateful and racist things, but I just don't see how like, you know, putting a spotlight on it makes things better, or is it gonna fix anything? You know, in my opinion, I would just like put that to the side and like, because like always with life, you have a small amount of people who are gonna be idiots, you know. So, I mean, I know we disagree on this subject.
Yeah,
but
the issue is that I think the Star Wars, the people in charge and the social media accounts have been so passive when it comes to harassment that performers have received, and that we've seen since the Phantom Menace.
That's true.
It's gotten to the point where people are very, very fed up with other Star Wars fans attacking, berating, and sending hateful and even to the extent of racist messages to some of the performers. And I mean, obviously, most recently with Moses Ingram, but Finn as well got a bunch of racial backlash when he was revealed to be a stormtrooper in the Force Awakens trailer. Rey, Daisy Ridley, Kelly Marie Tran was literally chased off of social media because of how people were treating her. So it's been terrible, and there's a long history of Star Wars performers receiving tons and tons and tons of hate and backlash from people in the fan base for the last 20 years, and people are really fed up. People in the fandom are really fed up with these other people, and like vocal minority or whatever. Like, people are just done with these toxic, hateful people or fans that are attacking these performers. And so now I think it's great that we're finally seeing Star Wars stand up for their performers, and other fans trying to fight back by drowning out these hateful messages with messages of positivity and love and support. And so I think it's important to acknowledge the hate and to do something about it, because
what is there to do though? That's like with like internet trolls and
yeah,
like
let them know they're unwelcome. Let them know that they are not welcome.
I'm sure they, but like at this point, I'm sure they don't care.
No, I'm sure they don't. But like
I just don't think like I'm okay with Moses with her like sharing the DMs and stuff, but I think that just gives them what they want, doesn't it? Like, I mean, if I was a troll and then the person I'm trolling acknowledges me, like, I would be pretty happy. Like, I just don't see the point of putting a spotlight on these trolls. Because, I mean, we both know this is going to be consistent until the end of time, because, you know, the world's not, it's a fallen world. You have idiots, a lot of hateful people.
I mean, you will, but I think it's important to start to make a shift within the Star Wars community and culture to where we want to push constructive criticism and not attacking performers for their characters or for the race. It's not something we're going to see within like the next 5 years. I think something like this is going to take time, but I think with especially the fans that grew up with the prequels and how much hate those got from original trilogy fans, I think there's definitely going to be a shift in the Star Wars fandom culture where we want to support and spread a little bit more positivity despite our problems or opinions or issues with characters, story writing, production, anything like that.
But I think moving forward as fans, like, we just need to stop engaging with these people and giving them the time of day, because that's just gonna grow more trolls out there and encourage them to be more hateful. Because if someone puts a hateful tweet out there and they get no replies or anything, it's like,
I think so, but I think it's also very important.
I think a lot of them do it for attention as well.
Yeah, of course. But I think the thing is, I think what we need to do is when we see it, we need to stand up in support for the people on the receiving end. and there's a lot of people that'll like quote retweet or comment under someone's negative post on Twitter. I think what's important is to not give them that engagement, but to address it on your own platform without like screenshotting whatever they said.
Yeah, I think
or
that's
clipping
dumb.
like a video. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like
if you're screenshotting what they said and then posting it on your own profile, it's like, well, you just, now their message was exposed to a lot more people, and now they're happy because they're, you know, they've been shouted out in a way, you know.
Yeah, but it's better than actually feeding them the engagement through the
Yeah,
system.
I mean, either one is bad. I wouldn't, and obviously I'm not like, I would never be in this situation because I don't have millions of followers, but, you know, if some trolls are sending me some disgusting messages and stuff, I mean, at least for me, that I would just ignore it. I wouldn't even consider giving it a time of my attention.
Yeah, but it's not always easy for people to just ignore stuff. The thing is that there has been a side of the Star Wars fandom that just is so aggressive and hateful towards certain performers.
Are we still talking about the small number of trolls, or like?
Are you talking? I mean, what are you saying is a small number? A small number in the grand scheme of the fandom? Do you know how big Star Wars is?
It's
global.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 2% of the fandom could be like 500,000 people.
That's small compared to the rest of the fandom.
Star Wars fan base is very toxic.
I mean,
I wouldn't say there's like...
Again, it's not supposed to be like...
I wouldn't say there's like hundreds of thousands of like racists running around in the community. There's definitely racists in the community. But
yeah, just like...
The issue is the community has been toxic for a long time. And there's creators that even amplify that toxicity. You have the Fandom Menace, for example, which is like these group of creators or people that are like just explicitly anti-Star Wars Disney, where they will... there was people that literally data mined...
It's okay being anti-Disney Star Wars.
But they do it in a very hateful, negative way. There's people, and I don't know if it was Fandom Menace, but there's people that literally data mined leaks from the Obi-Wan show to find issues and things that they didn't like. Like, how would you go that far to hate on something that you supposedly love? It's
yeah, I wouldn't consider them fans.
That's the thing, though. And they're still like in the Star Wars community where they're talking like on Twitter and YouTube, and I'm sure there's even like TikTok videos where people will spend their entire time on social media spreading hate, spreading their dislikes and discords in a very negative and non-constructive way. And that's the issue that's been going on in the Star Wars community, especially once Disney took over.
Yeah, okay, we agree with that. It's an issue. I think the disagreement here is a solution. My solution: don't give them the time of the day at all. And I know with the Moses Ingram situation, like you said, it can be hard when there's so many, but I just think it makes a problem so much worse when you put a spotlight on these people. And like I said, whether it's sharing screenshots or replying to them, because like you said, controversy creates engagement. It's like what you said on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think replying to them makes it better. I think we just leave them alone in their own corner, do their own thing, and eventually it'll fade out.
Except they grew.
Why?
Because it's over the past, I don't know, however many years, probably since Disney bought the rights.
Did they grow just because the fandom grew, or?
Well, I think the fandom is definitely growing and growing, but the issue is, I don't think it's many of the new fans. It's a lot of the people that are almost like George Lucas purists. Because these are people that are comparing these new things, these new stories and characters to ones from the past. And it's... it's growing because it's like,
look, I don't have a problem with fans who hate, or not hate, but they dislike the Star Wars under Disney, and they're, for whatever reason, whether it's nostalgia, they have a sense of loyalty to George Lucas. Like, they can, I don't care about that. It's just, I think the problem is when they express their hatred and how they do it. Because you can dislike anything you want, but if you go out of your way to attack the actors who have no real say under like their characters and how they're written, like, that's a problem. But for people who just really don't like these new Star Wars shows and movies and books or whatever, like, that's okay. I don't think we all have to agree on the same thing, you know? Like, the fandom isn't...
I think that is okay, but like you said, the issue is that they aren't doing it in a constructive way. It's always in a toxic way. It's always in a way that's putting down what other people like, putting down other people's opinions. It's just terrible. The thing is, when two people come into a debate about something, you want it to be constructive and healthy and respectful. And there's lots and lots of people that aren't respectful about it. They aren't respectful of other people's opinions. They aren't respectful of other people's beliefs or what they have to say on a certain topic in the Star Wars universe. They're usually always putting down in one way or another what other people think in trying to lift up what they believe themselves, and it's terrible. It's toxic, and that's the issue. And I've seen it, like, especially with the Book of Boba Fett. So many accounts on Twitter taking like just small moments in the show and just berating it, like just going crazy over how much they hate it. And then for some reason it always leads back to like people berating the sequels too, berating the other characters.
But you do have to admit, Disney kind of fumbled the bag with the sequels.
That doesn't matter. That's irrelevant.
It does matter.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It does.
Did George Lucas fumble the bag with the prequels?
It was his story. He could do whatever he wanted.
People still hated it.
But it was his story. Like, this is my problem with the sequels, is that Episode 7 was fine. Like, I took it. It was they basically took A New Hope, and that was Episode 7, but with different characters. Like, I accepted it. But then we're kind of getting off track here, but they set up a bunch of stuff in Episode 7. Then Rian Johnson comes in and completely just deletes all that and makes his own movie. I'm like, you couldn't have just stuck to the story? Like, there was not one definitive storyline throughout the sequels. And, that doesn't matter. Let's not talk about it.
That's a different video. The issue is, it doesn't matter how terrible or great the sequel trilogy was. What matters is how people are still bringing up issue and putting down those movies when it's completely irrelevant to other things that we're talking about. And even then, yeah, if you don't like the sequels, that's cool, man. Like, that's fine. The issue is when you're trying to put those movies down and make other people feel bad for liking them. And that is a huge issue in the Star Wars community right now, where there's people that are doing that. And there's
ways you can talk about the sequel trilogy. Like you said, I don't think there's never a circumstance where it's okay to make somebody feel bad about liking something. Like, at the end of the day, it's all subjective. I mean, if you don't want the sequel trilogy to be canon, then it's not canon in your own mind. Like, it's not that serious. But yeah, no, I do agree that
people do take it pretty serious. I mean, there is literally a GoFundMe to remake the sequel trilogy.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
That's the thing.
It's never gonna happen, but like,
it's not gonna happen.
I agree with it.
There's people out there that feel so passionately about this,
and they can feel as passionate as they want to. They can get all the debates they want, but like you said, the point where it crosses the line is when they start making fun of other people for liking it. We both agree on that. Mm-hmm. But the fact that there are people out there who viciously hate the sequels, I have no problem with that. It's just it's when you attack other people is when it becomes an issue, right?
Yeah. But that's my point, is that is the issue, is that's usually like 8 times out of 10 how it is. it's not
Always
always
attacking the fans or the actors.
both. It's not always just.
Does Disney have any fault in this?
Fault in what? Toxicity in the fandom?
Yeah.
No. Why would they be at fault?
They took George Lucas and his story, and of course they can do whatever they want because it's their property. But when you're finishing off a story like the Skywalker saga, I mean, don't you have some responsibility to make it consistent? Or like, because bringing back Sidious, for example, like...
Yes.
Come on.
The thing is, the quality of...
Like, for Disney, you can't just put out some crap movies and then expect everyone to just, okay, like, go along with it. Like it.
No one's saying that's what they're expecting.
No, but I'm just saying, like, they should be aware.
The quality of the movies and the stories and their characters are irrelevant to how people are treating others and talking about it.
Agreed.
Like, if the movies are bad and you don't like them, fine, fair game. Once you start talking about them in an overtly negative way, that just...
Why can't they talk about it in a negative way?
What? Look, if...
My point
is... It leads back to constructive criticism.
My point is, you cross the line when you make fun of other people and you start attacking others. But
yes.
Along with that, you can hate on the sequel trilogy all you want. You can talk negative about them all you want. I don't care about that. It's freedom of speech. But like I said, it crosses the line when you make other people feel bad.
I think what I'm trying to say...
That toxicity I'm okay with. Because it's your own opinion, your own thoughts, you express them however you want. But like I said...
No, I think what I'm trying to say is, it's... Even when you're speaking about it and you have issues with it, I think when you're speaking about these movies or shows in a way that will only encourage other people to bring that same negative energy that is overtly negative, like saying like Rey is just such a Mary Sue. She doesn't deserve the Skywalker name, and it's like, that's not helpful.
Do you consider that toxic? Like a problem? Because I wouldn't.
I think so.
Well, there we go. I think that's a disagreement. I would only consider it toxic, like I said, when it starts affecting other people, and you're attacking the actors because of your dislikes and your opinion. But
well, that's the thing. Like,
if you can talk negative all you want. I don't really care about that.
I think there's a certain amount of tact that needs to be used when speaking negatively about something.
I mean, like, in a perfect world, you would expect people to act better, but like at the end of the day, if someone doesn't like something, they're gonna make sure their voices are heard.
Yeah. But the issue is, I think there needs to be a change, and
I wouldn't mind if we all agreed on the same thing and we can agree to disagree.
I don't even care that we do agree on the same thing. Like, if you don't...
just to wrap things up, so we agree that fans who are... Alright, let's start with the actors. We agree when fans are attacking the actors for the characters to play in the movie. Bad. Got it. If fans attack other people for disagreeing with them, that's bad. Got it. We disagree when fans overtly talk negative about something. About the sequel trilogy, for example. You consider that toxic? I don't. Right?
Yeah. I think there's a line. So I don't want to be like, if you're negative about it, like, then you don't deserve to say what you want to say. No, I think if you have an issue with something, yes. But I think there's also a line where you don't want to cross that could encourage...
And a lot of that, I think, comes from passion, too.
I think so.
Because I'm someone who's also very passionate about Star Wars, and I I would say I'll hate the sequels for the most part. Like I just think it was Disney it was such a disappointment. And sometimes like I can be very overtly negative about them as well, but I don't. If someone likes them, I don't care. Like I'm not gonna make fun of someone who likes them, but I don't know. I just think Star Wars people or fans are very passionate about Star Wars, and this goes back to the 70s. Like you guys have to keep in mind, Star Wars has been around for a long time.
50 years.
You have different like sects of fans out there, and that's the topic for another video. But I mean, yeah, like Carlos said, whenever there's people being hateful, like yeah, we do need a change, and I think the best thing to do is just stomp that out. But I don't know. Any last thoughts?
No.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. I know it was a little too long, but I appreciate everyone who supports. And I'll go ahead and include Carlos's links in my bio, in the bio of this video. But yeah, thanks for your time and have a good one. Bye.